What's going on, YouTube? I'm Van, and this time I am Van-splaining your fantasy draft. So, let me ask you a question. Did you already draft? If you did, you already messed up because it's a little too early to draft it. Here's why. Training camp and the preseason are not over yet. All that means is this: we don't know who's hurt, we don't know who's cut, and we don't know who's changing teams yet. Which means the value of your players that you may have drafted already could change drastically between now and opening kickoff. This is why a good draft always happens after the preseason, after training camp is closed, right before the regular season, because then rosters are finalized, you know who's what, and now the player values is basically fixed at that point. For example, if you drafted anybody on Minnesota based on J.J. McCarthy's first preseason game, guess what, Bunky? You're in trouble because now it's going to be Sam Darnold. And we know what he is. He's not good at all. All that means is, okay, Justin Jefferson's going to be fine, but Jordan Addison, maybe not so much. And that's what happens when you draft too early. That is just one of the things you may be doing wrong with your fantasy draft. The next thing you may be doing wrong with your fantasy draft. Everybody wants to know what a sleeper is. We spend lots of money on this. We do a little bit of research on this. But the question is this: are you drafting your sleeper before the 7th round? If you're drafting your sleeper before the 7th round, you're doing it wrong. Because in the 7th, you're still drafting starters. You should not be drafting anybody labeled a sleeper any earlier than the 11th round. And what I mean is this: this is not somebody you're counting on to win you the league. This is a home run you're hoping to hit. Meaning, if you're drafting Jalen Wright from the Miami Dolphins at running back anytime before the 7th, you probably just gave up a good player to the guy that's going to beat you in the playoffs. Next thing, how about we talk about setting up your team for the draft, okay? When you're setting your team up, you need to think about not just who's available, you also need to think about the bye week. This is the strategy you should follow because it's one that worked for me, and after all, I got receipts. I won my league last year. Think in terms of 3 receivers, 3 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, none of whom have the same bye week. And all that means is this: when you think about 3 quality receivers, use this for a yardstick. 170 points projected for the season or better. That means your player is projected to score at least 10 points a game or better. Use that for running backs and receivers when you are checking them out. And make sure none of the bye weeks are the same week. Here's why. Some guys are going to give up points because they're just going to draft a monster squad. Yeah, week 12, bye week. Yeah, okay, I'll give it up that week. Why are you giving away any weeks in a fantasy season, especially in a money league? I'm not giving away a thing. As far as I'm concerned, the bye week monster can bite somebody else, not this kid. My team is going to be set up so that if I got 2 receivers, one's on bye, I still got 2 I can start. If I got 2 running backs, one's on bye, I still got 2 I can start. And that all-important flex position, you're always going to have either a receiver or a back ready to go. This is why you need to think in terms of 3 receivers, 3 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. And if you think about what I said earlier about the 7th round, by the 7th, you should already have 1 quarterback, 3 receivers, 3 running backs. That's your 7. Then your backup quarterback, anybody else you want to fill in off the bench, that's where you're going to pick those guys up. A common mistake a lot of people make with these kind of drafts is this: they draft tight end a little too early, but don't you be that person. I don't care if it is Travis Kelce. I don't care if it is Sam Laporta. What I need you to do is look at their numbers once again and ask yourself the question: is the tight end that I'm going to draft going to score me more points than either the running back or the receiver that's available in the same round? In every case, the answer is no. You ain't going to have a tight end score you over 200 points in a season. You're not going to have a tight end, not maybe 1 or 2, score you 170. But there's a whole lot of wide receivers that can do that down to the 9th and 10th round. There's a whole lot of running backs that can do that down to the 7th and 8th round. So if you're drafting a tight end early, all you're doing is giving a guy like me a little more ammunition to beat you when it comes time to the playoffs. Don't be that guy. Draft a tight end late. Plenty of value late. Cole Kmet and Brock Bowers are going off the board the 10th and 11th round, and I guarantee you'll get to your championship game with one of them, provided you draft good receivers and backs first. So don't spend money on tight end. If you are going to spend money on something, spend it on place kickers. It's kind of weird, but place kicker actually gets devalued. People, 15 rounds for place kickers. Sure, good luck with that. And then when there's a run on place kickers, you're going to be the one left out with a place kicker only getting 6 points a game. Don't be that guy. Get your place kicker in the 9th or the 10th round. You're going to get somebody close to 10 points a game. Harrison Butker, Evan McPherson, one of those two is probably going to help you out a lot. But once you start getting down the ranks a little bit, you start getting thin there, and you don't want to be that guy with a place kicker that's only getting 5 or 6 points a game. Consider the offense they're in, consider the conference they're in, consider the chances they're going to get, but get your place kicker early. Bottom line, if you follow these rules, you're going to draft well, you're going to make your playoffs, and you might make yourself a little cheddar cheese when you win your championship. I'm Van. Thanks for watching Vansplaining. And once again, if there's cheese on the mountain, bring crackers.